Followed by a very combative Paul Tracy. Bobby Rahal runs in third place. We'll be back to Detroit after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Oh, you know what?
And look
right
at Paul
here,
Tracy.
this
Look at
is
Paul
amazing.
Tracy. He
And
gets him. Paul Tracy takes the lead.
But you saw that Michael Andretti saw him coming too and decided to give him room. Now, this is a completely different complexion to the race. Can Paul Tracy lead a race under this sort of pressure? What happens when a young driver's blood is really up, as Paul Tracy's must be right now? Will he make a mistake now that he's the one under pressure?
He also passed Michael where you wouldn't expect a pass to happen. Now, it was a good pass, it was a clean pass, but it took Michael a lot of experience not to pull down and squeeze Paul into the fence on the right-hand side. It's what we sat here and cringed at, if it could be made.
Major league race driving, though.
Boy, what do you think Rick Mears came off the couch on that one?
I think he did. I think he says, golly, you might bend my car there.
Now, stations, we're going to go to that break just as soon as we can, but with that pass for the lead, we just had to stay here in Detroit, and we want to watch for just a few seconds longer because Bobby Rahal is closing up on Michael, too. Here's the way it looked from the Goodyear blimp overhead of the track. And boy,
that looks like an almost impossible situation. If Michael hadn't realized what was happening, the leading two cars would have been out and Bobby Rahal would have been leading this race.
Michael even had to back off there a little bit, Sam, as it started happening. And, of course, you can watch Paul Tracy backed off a little bit, too, because it really looked like it was going to be a collision. It's a difficult place because Michael really has to go to the right, his right or our left. You see what happened there in order to make the corner, period.
So now with 38 laps complete and the first pit stop round done, Paul Tracy, driving for Roger Penske, has the lead of the race. It's his 7th career start, the first time he's ever led an IndyCar race. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC station.
There's a French influence here. We're near Canada. Let me have a break here.
We're in the U.S. American racing here, Sam, with Paul Tracy, a Canadian.
A Canadian who can speak French and would know exactly what I'm talking about.
Michael Andretti now closes up, trying to close in. Paul Tracy at front, Michael Andretti second, Jack Arute. And Michael Andretti moves outside of Paul Tracy, tries to grab him. Jack Arute, you had an update on the leaders?
Yes, Paul. One thing to remember is that both teams are situated at opposite ends of pit road.
Michael glanced off the wall. And looks like Tracy got it too.
And
Rahal goes into the lead.
The Fox.
Two cars, looks like both of them brushed the wall, and Rahal takes the lead of this race. But both Paul Tracy and Michael Andretti continue on. Now Michael moves alongside, and Paul Tracy tries to get under him.
Michael has decided to have a shoot-off. He says, hey, this young man cannot be run away from this race the way he is. I'm going to show him that I am the fastest. And boy, what a contest we're seeing. And he passed him back.
Michael Andretti takes Paul Tracy, but it's a battle for second place because Rahal, sitting, waiting, watching, moved up and took the lead.
Boy, Rahal was alert to that, as he so often has been to opportunity, but here, his reflexes, his instinct for taking the lead, incredible. Tracy now seems to be slowing.
Paul Tracy, and Michael Andretti bounces off the back of Alonso Jr., ricochets off the wall, and he continues on.
Well, what a race. I mean, I don't know where they've hit the walls, bumped each other so many times here. You wonder how they keep running. All these cars, incidentally, are very fragile. Paul Tracy, we saw him touch a wall a while ago. That could be that he ruined the alignment on the car, and that's where his handling went away.
I think many drivers would probably say, that's it, I brushed the wall a couple times, I'm taking it in. Not Michael Andretti.
I was going to say maybe these cars seem very strong because Michael Andretti hit the wall too and he's still able to run. Meantime, it should be noted that Bobby Rahal is the leader in the championship, the PPG IndyCar Championship, and he is now, of course, extending his lead in the championship if he can win this race.
Michael Andretti and Paul Tracy continue at it, though you've seen the back end come loose on Paul Tracy's car several times. That was Alonso Jr. that they just moved around once again. And Paul Tracy driving certainly an ill-handling car. Here's a replay of the situation. They bounce. Well, maybe they don't actually touch at that point.
Oh, yeah, they touched there, but not again. They touched wheel to wheel.
And both of them.
And now here goes Rahal.
Corner.
Oh, look at that.
Michael hit the wall
brushes
twice.
the wall. Paul doesn't seem to get into it, but he does get up into the loose stuff on the outside, lays down a pretty good mark off of his right rear, and Rahal takes the lead.
Rahal, of course, much older than these two young drivers. He must have had a sly old grin on his face as he shot by him.
But this just shows you the winning attitude that he has. He says, hey, this is enough. I'm going to show this young man that I'm faster than he is.
This was the other situation then, as Michael came up, bounced off the rear of Little Al's car, rimmed the guardrail for a while, and then kept going.
That's right, where Little Al rubbed the rail yesterday. Now, when he rubbed it, what seemed like no harder than what Michael did, got both the front end and the body work on his.
Bobby, you talked about the fragility of the car. Now, do you think after seeing that again, would it be in my...